So again, hi everyone, I'm Adan Horvath, and I'm here to talk about Google Chrome extension development. Before we begin, just to warm up a little bit, how many guys are using IE because they want to use it? I mean, not because the employer forces them to. No one, really. Fascinating. Firefox? You can be honest, it's okay. Really, no one? Oh, okay, 1, 2. That's okay. And Chrome? Brilliant. I just seen a report about the IQ, the average IQ of the web user guys, and it's really good we don't have IE guys here. I don't really want to ruin the point. You can look it up, this report, but I'm glad I could come up with this because IE guys, whatever. So before we begin. Well, what is an extension? Most of you guys use tons of them or know what they are. Just let me try to give you an overview. So basically, the developers of Chrome and Chromium decided not to include any feature that's not for everyone. So the reason Chrome is just a plain, brilliant browser because it lacks all the crap basically you won't use or what everyone will use. So if you want to add extra functionality, just go ahead. You can use extensions to do so, but most probably you won't see any extra functions in the browser itself. That's basically not for 100% of the guys. So if you want to create extensions, it's really easy to do. And I'm really excited to say it's really basically just a web development. It's HTML and JavaScript and CSS. Just go ahead and write your own if you miss some functionality. But why is it interesting at all? Why would you bother doing so? Well, let's start with business cases. You can actually make money out of it. One nice example you can use is add extra functionality to a legacy systems you don't have the source code for. Because whatever you have, you just cannot edit the source itself, but you still want to have new features. You want to fix, because it works in IE6 only, for instance, but still the company is moving for newer browsers. You can write extensions to fix the actual HTML pages in the browser itself. It's really good for that. You can localize the web page. So let's, for instance, you have it only in German. You want to have it in English. You cannot modify the source code. Go ahead, do it. You can do it with Chrome extensions. And obviously, you can promote your business. Many shopping sites do this. They just create Chrome extensions for their own services. So if you use the Chrome extensions, you use their services, and they are making money out of it. But be aware, most likely you will be unable to sell any of your Chrome extensions you make, even though theoretically you could sell it from the store. Okay, so what types of extensions can you write? Basically, you can safely say the two basic types. One is the browser action itself, which adds a function to every single page or the browser itself. It doesn't filter, it just runs all the time. The other one is the page action itself. Obviously, there are some extra functions you can add, like override new tab pages and history pages. It's very unlikely you will do so, but you can if you want to. One interesting one is providing a custom search function for the Omnibox. You can create something for Omnibox. So basically, it searches for your own site or your shopping site or whatever site you want to. If you want to really use a big hammer, you can use native code. So basically, you can write NP API plugins to do basically everything that the operating system itself is able to do. People don't really like to install these extensions because they can do basically anything, but you can. So for instance, if you want to create the screen capture applications, this is the way to do it. And by the way, themes supposed to be extensions as well, but not really functional ones. So you have page actions, browser actions, whatever you have. What can you write to make it happen? The most important page you can write for an extension is the background page. The background page guy is the one who just keeps all your settings. Basically, this is the guy who just connects all your extension pages, whatever extensions pages you have. You can decide not to have background page, which is good because then you don't consume resources because background pages are always running. So if you create an extension and someone installs it, background page is always there. It's basically keeping your data always. You can have options page. You've seen that. It's pretty straightforward. You can have pop-up pages. These goes with page action. The browser actions. I will show you in a minute And then you can have content scripts, CSS files, JavaScript files, which are actually injected into the actual page you are viewing. So this is the way to modify the HTML itself, inject some JavaScript. It will modify the actual HTML DOM for you. Desktop notification, I will show you in the demo. It's really interesting. It's catching up. It makes sense to use if you really need to notify the user of something. So this might look a little bit messy, but it's all right. Let's go through all the small chunks in it. You see a empty Chrome. It does have two extensions installed. One is the blue guy there is a page action. It shows up when it feels like it can interact with the actual page itself. The other one is the FF, which is a browser action. It's always there. It can have a pop-up page if it wants to. And all these guys can have the background page to communicate with to save your settings or retrieve your settings. If you want to have an options page, it can go through the background page. It doesn't directly interact with your functions. OK, so you have all the pages. What can you do to talk to the background, to the storage, or whatever you want to talk to? You really have to keep in mind that you are running in an isolated world. It means even though if you are interacting with the HTML page itself, your extensions or the other guys' extensions are running in separated JavaScript environments. It's all empty. They cannot interact with each other. They cannot block each other. They can work with the DOM, with the HTML DOM, but they won't hurt each other. It's really good to know that most of the extensions APIs are asynchronous. The reason is most of the Chrome pages are running in separate processes, so the inter-process communication is pretty much asynchronous. You don't want to block the user to wait for your background page to reply. So you have to just say, I want to send this information to my background page, and if it's finished, just please tell me so I can proceed. The good news, and it really gives Chrome a feel of an integration environment that you can call any service you want to. You're not limited to call back to the actual page it was downloaded from, or any other page. You can call whatever service you want to call. So basically, the cross XHR requests are allowed. You can store your settings with the standard local storage. It's 5 megabytes. In case you need more, just use an XHR request to save it for your servers, and that's it. So how can you interact with the browser itself? Google created a custom API set for just the extensions. These APIs are not available for web pages themselves, only for extensions. So you can interact, for instance, with bookmarks, cookies, and whatsoever, open up tabs, close tabs, and so on. So basically, you are driving the browser itself. There are limitations what you can and you cannot do, but you can pretty much interact with the browser itself, not just web pages. Bear in mind that if you want to do it, you have to ask a user permission before actually installing your extensions. So the user will know that you want to have access for tabs, for instance. It's good news as well that the API, when it makes its ways to the actual stable branch, it won't get removed. So if you rely on an API and later on, no matter how many versions later on, it will be there. It doesn't matter whether it's outdated or whatever. Your extensions will be running with the new Chrome versions as well. So how can you host your Chrome extensions? The easiest way is just upload to the Chrome store. It's free. It can be connected to Google Analytics. You see where your users coming from, or you can host it locally. You can absolutely do it. It's a little bit trickier, but you can do it. So for instance, if you are creating an extension for your internet users, you don't want to upload to Chrome store. You can set up your host environment absolutely locally. How to develop? It's really important because most probably the JavaScript, the volume of JavaScript you will write for an extension will exceed any web page JavaScript you ever written. Because you're working for a static environment, you don't have to bother with all compatibility issues and stuff. So basically, you can just go ahead and write as big extensions as you want to. So you really want to have nice tools to do so. From my experience, using NetBeans is by far the best JavaScript environment to work in. It's free. It works on every platform. It's really good. You should try that if you haven't. Obviously, Google's own Clojure compiler is a really good help. Well, it's not really a help. It's someone who tells you you made a mistake. So if you have some JavaScript error, most probably Clojure compiler will show what type of errors you made. Obviously, it doesn't compile JavaScript code. It just analyzes it, highlights the typical errors you might have in your code, and make your code a little bit shorter. It might run faster. You don't really want to rely on gaining performance benefit, but it will highlight your errors. This is the most important stuff. Generally, the development of an extension is not really, I sit down, start on the first line, and finish on the 500th line, whatever. You're developing by small chunks. Most probably you open up your Chrome's JavaScript console, try out whether it works against the real web page you are developing against. And if it does, you just move your code by small pieces into the actual environment you work in it. You really need to test the unpacked version before running the Clojure compiler. Test the unpacked version. You can upload to Chrome Store, allow just a couple users to download your extension. They can give you feedback how they feel, and then you can publish it to the crowd. Debugger perfectly works with Chrome. Chrome is a great debugger, but really not that easy to debug your extension, especially if it's being pegged using the Clojure compiler. So really don't want to rely on that. If you want to have small icons with page actions, it's good to know that they should be embedded into CSS using base 64 encoding. It's really easy to use, but you cannot really reference images from page extensions. OK. If you have questions now, just go ahead. I do really remember when I was listening to conferences, I'm really impatient. I always forget my questions before the guy gets there. So if you have any, just shout in or whatever.
Can you write an extension using Gwt?
Well, not really. Theoretically, you could, because the output is JavaScript, so it might work. But it's a completely different word. Basically, Gwt coming from Java and compiling your source to look like a desktop application, and your extensions are basically just relying on the Chrome and Chrome's abilities. You can, but it doesn't really make sense, because why not just have a web page that does what it does? So yeah, not really.
So the slightly longer answer to that, you have to package them up differently. So there is a linker. Gwt has linkers that will spit out other code that needs to wrap your code. And there is a specific linker for extensions. So you can write Gwt code, you include the linker in your module file, and it'll spit you out an extension. There are a whole lot of Google APIs that are Gwt friendly. I don't know that these ones are. But it's not a big deal if they're not, to actually get access to JavaScript APIs. So yes, you can. I'm not sure if it's the best idea. I've never tried it. Gwt is suitable for certain things and not suitable for others. But
any other? OK, let's see the demo then. For the demo, I came up with two good or sort of good business cases. They pretty much resemble the same thing. So the first business case is your CEO sends you an email that the whole company should review a company's or client's website for any errors. And if you find some errors, you should immediately report them, not bother with Jira or whatever, just see what's wrong with a single page. You don't want to go through the whole process. Obviously, the CEO himself, wants to see something that he really can see. He doesn't really want to see all the URLs listed with the bugs. He wants to see some nice charts or whatever about the actual bugs. The second business case, you are part of the team researching competitors, different technologies or whatever, and you want to share the URLs with your teammates. Obviously not sending emails like, hey, I found this, do you want to open it up? So how to do it? I mean, obviously many ways to do so. It's not really a 5 minutes application, but actually you can write it in 5 minutes using extensions. So I open up an empty NetBeans environment, and what I have here is I have a very simple extension. It doesn't do anything now. It just the extension itself, so it shows up but doesn't do anything. How to do it? I have to give in a JSON file a name, a version, and some other information like what background page I want to use or what page action I want to use. So this is going to be a page action extension. And I have to ask for permissions for tabs because page actions wants to decide on the URL itself whether they want to be showed or not. So what I have in the background HTML, it's pretty much empty. I just have a single JavaScript file loaded. What is the JavaScript file itself? It doesn't do much. It just says if the Chrome tabs were updated, I want to be notified by this check action function. And this function doesn't do anything. I just calling back Chrome saying, please show my page action on this tab ID that changed. Here I could add as a custom logic that, for instance, this page action doesn't show up on external pages, only on the intranet side of my company. It doesn't really help us. So how to load it? Go back to Chrome. You can open up extensions page, switch to developer mode, and then load untagged extension. Just give the actual directory. It loads up. I didn't give the full logo, so it just empty. But if you go back to the page, refresh it, it does have this small blue guy showing up because I asked him to show up whatever happens to a tab. So far so good. I can click it, doesn't do anything. So all the extensions might have background pages. I can open up a background page and see it's really loading my script. So I can switch to script and see it's really the script I try to load. Let's add some more interesting functions. I don't want to bore you guys writing me with syntax errors. So let me add just simple functions. Okay. Go back to NetBeans. What I added is a listener. The listener is really simple as well. It doesn't do much, just says if the Chrome page action was clicked, I want to be notified. I don't want to fetch the URL of the tab. I want to pop up a JavaScript input page and call something the save page to docs, whatever that function is, then just hide this page action because it's completed. So what is the save page to docs? It looks a little bit scary, but it's just basically one page, big characters, so it's just one page. Let's go through it. It does have a URL. It's spreadsheets Google.com, so most probably we'll be interacting with something with spreadsheets on Google Documents. I define the data type, which is an ATOM XML. I create an XML file, an XML message to Google. It's not really nice to assemble XML message like this, so please don't follow in real life, but it should be okay for demo. I send two columns. One is URL, one is a message. It's pretty straightforward. I replace it. It's not nice again. Then create an XML HTTP request, and if it was successful, I log to console. And by the way, I create a desktop notification, just a couple lines, so it's really easy. Your page was successfully saved to Google, and then show the notification. Otherwise, if it somehow failed, I just saw, unsuccessful, maybe you're not logged into Google. Open the request, send it, and that's it. So I'm still missing two things. I don't have permissions to do so. I have to ask explicit permissions to call an external XHR request or show desktop notifications. So I really want to have notifications. And I want to have access to that specific URL. If you're writing this your own, please watch that it should be an HTTPS, otherwise you get funny errors. It does allow you to invoke the request, but it returns something basically it doesn't make sense. So looking at this, we should be okay. Let me try to open up the page that was prepared. So this is the actual spreadsheet I created. It doesn't have anything else, just URL and the message, which is quite fine. If you want to post to Google Spreadsheets, you have to pre-create the columns. It won't pre-create it for you. And what I'm doing is just posting a new line after the first line, which basically should be the second and third and so on. So let's try to reload this guy. and everything goes well, I click this guy. Oops, nothing happens. Okay, because in the background page I haven't loaded these scripts. Let's load these scripts. I have a listener, and I have a gdocs JavaScript file. Go back, reload extension, click. Why do you want to report the page? The business case first. Is something wrong with the page? It's okay. So it says it's saved to Google Docs. Should be okay. Go to Google Docs. It is here. Let's try to report this guy a couple more times. Okay. Go back. We have 3 lines. Pretty good. Let's try to find something else. Report this page as well. No offense, it's really good, just for the demo. Okay, so we have these reported URLs. The business case second is completed because I already shared with my team. It's all right. You can log in with your team, check the URLs, check why I shared, and that's it. For the business case first, I need to do something else as well. For instance, I want to publish as a web page. I already did it. Just republish it now. Otherwise, it publishes every 5 minutes, so we don't want to wait that long. Go to that URL, and then see as an RSS. Here you go. So here you have your reported pages. It refreshes if someone reports your page. It's really cool. But then the CEO guy is still waiting his really nice report. So what I do is data pivot table. Finally, we have this one. No, we didn't have it for a long time, so it's okay. And then values at URL, count the URLs. So we have 3, 1, 4. Let's not show totals. Let's insert a nice chart. That's perfectly all right. So if I go back to Google now, and then report again by different user, for instance, and go back to the pie chart, it reflects immediately the change. So it's pretty cool. That's about the demo. If you have questions about the demo itself before switching back to slides, I'm happy to answer them. No, don't be shy. No, okay, that's perfect. Okay, let's continue. Some final thoughts. The problem with developing for the public is always like it just doesn't work, right? I mean, you test it in all the environments you can think of, and just user reports that it just doesn't work. Most probably it's a user you don't have to really be worried about. The main reason, as I mentioned, if you are relying on whatever API that made its way to the stable branch, it will be there for everyone. So it's very unlikely that you made some mistake. But you might want to investigate. Maybe this can be really a bug. The psychology of voting, it's really interesting. If you create your extension for us, geeks, we are really fussy. Most probably your extension will have a lower average vote value than if you create it for the average internet user, who's very happy if they receive something for free. So they always happy, it's fine, it's 5. But if you are a geek, then it's okay. I received it for free, but still it's not good. And it's pretty interesting that most probably your average won't really change after a couple of votes. This is the voting again. If you see a perfect average, or let's say the average is 3, and if someone finds your extension extremely successful or extremely helpful, unlikely he will give it a 5 because, well, maybe he likes it, but the other 400 didn't like it, so it's okay. It can stay there. Localization, you can perfectly do it. Google supports localization of the extensions themselves. It's really easy to do so. So if you are working with non-English guys, it's really easy to localize different languages. I collected some URLs for you in case you want to see what tools or what did I mention before. If you want to encode the images in CSS, it's just one single line of Python. You don't really have to use something external. But if you don't want to convert mass images, you can use just the online tool to convert it. The slide is available on SlideShare/Chrome extension. And then if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer it.
Sorry, Adam, is there a mechanism to update client extensions once they've been deployed?
Well, it's really easy. If you upload to the Chrome Web Store, it's automatic. It's pretty much random, so you can actually say it will be updated within an hour. Every Chrome randomly requests updates from Chrome Store, so it's not a spike. It's just pretty much distributed. But if you upload it, I pretty much recommend trying within a small group. You can set up just to distribute to a couple email addresses. And then if it works, you can say, OK, go ahead, and eventually, like roughly within a day, everyone will have your new extension. Any other questions? What are your questions? OK, that's fine. So thank you very much, then, and let's see the next presenter.